Hello, this is Ryan Aguayo, the writer of Velvet Thoughts Half Past Midnight. For the longest time, I've been so excited to share this book with you. So for the first time, I'll be reading it to you, from cover to cover. So I hope you enjoy it, and thank you for listening. Hello, this is Ryan Aguayo reading Velvet Thoughts Half Past Midnight by me. To the one I love and my dear friend, you know who you are. Velvet Thoughts Half Past Midnight, a collection of poems and thoughts drafted in the notes of my phone late at night. Poetry has always been about heartache and sorrow, and how it became my reality. It's different now. My poetry is my experiences through a velvet curtain. These velvet thoughts and poems are merely passing images in my head, some not even reality. These stories I tell can't hurt me. They're just words on paper. I write about the people I love. No villains, no violence, just velvet thoughts half past midnight. Poems and thoughts materialized after cheap wine and sleepless nights. Healing takes time, and not everything has to be pain to be beautiful. I'm still learning this as a poet. The last hateful words you said. Call me a joke. Dismiss, discredit, disregard my love from the past few years. Fuck it. All you will have is the pages of my poetry you will soon burn. Let our love story go down in flames. Burn it. Fuck it. I don't care anymore. There's nothing more I can do. August 21st, 3 a.m. I don't need to say goodbye to you. I had been doing that for the past 5 years. This time, I'm finally hanging up the phone. I'm not really here or there. I'm somewhere in between. I look at those whom I used to know. I'll never be like them. I don't know what it will ever be like to belong to a group of people who care about you. I've only known one person at a time to care about me. Half of the time that didn't always work out too fairly. I'm not really here or there. I'm somewhere in between. I'm happy to be yours, but I don't know what it's like to run to someone that isn't you. I wouldn't be lying if I were to say I was miserable. I'm not. I'm in love, it's just I've been hurt time and time again, so much so that it has blinded me from seeing what's in front of me. I'm scared. Please don't hurt me. I don't want to bury you within a poem like the rest. I want to put those feelings behind me and put them to rest. I'm not here or there, but I'm somewhere in between. Somewhere between love and fear. Dancer in the dark. I started a film and thought of you. Not the man who I once loved and cared for, but the man who hurt me. I thought he was my dearest friend, but I was a dancer in the dark for him, blind and full of hope. I thought I'd found a true friend. He was nothing but a dead end, someone to drive me straight into unforgiving sadness. He took the one thing I once called mine and kissed it to bed. Never will I forgive them. Hopeless for now. I could ask for a helping hand, somewhere to land, somewhere to rest my head, at least for the night. A mere friendship, but that is all over now. That's just a dreamscape in my head. It is hopeless, at least for now. Pills. Pills, 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 caught in my feels again. I can't remember the last time I left them as just words on paper. I wear them throughout my day like pearls around my neck. I don't remember why I was ever this upset. All I remember is taking those damn pills. Unhealthy habits. I used to make love to feel loved, constantly running into unavailable arms. Now it's different. I make love to give love. Now that I feel something, there isn't much to bend backwards for anymore. No more waking up in a dazed confusion and staring at an unfamiliar ceiling, or being woken up by the busy streets of Los Angeles and all its honking horns and 9-to-5 commuters. Good morning. Thank you for everything. See you same time next week, I'm sure. Trial and error. As I think about the men I've been with, I think about what each one has taught me about myself. One taught me not to trust everyone. One taught me to be submissive. Love is worth a little bit of pain. One taught me to blend into wallpaper when necessary. The last taught me to be patient and wait for a good morning text because brighter days are coming. Patience is key. Happiness has never been easy. Always a multitude of reasons why things can't be simple. Gypsy woman. Seeing you this afternoon is quite bittersweet. Bittersweet because I know I'm going to lose you again. But I guess that's my fault. I fell in love with a gypsy-type woman, never really here or there, but somewhere between both. I guess I'll see you again sometime soon. Between here and there. I'll see you in another year. Take care, my love. You always bear the truth. Thank you for that reality check. Learning. My dear friend, out of all the times you've flown in and out of my world, you have taught me the things I needed to learn most. I learned everything is temporary, and true love is not tangible. If true love is not tangible, then we must not focus on the material items associated with love. Not only romantic love must abide by these rules, but all love. Time is not everlasting, but love is. You taught me that. Thank you, my dear friend. Static. Thought of seeing you today, but what's the point? Thought of writing you a love letter and sending it in the mail, but what's the point? I thought day and night, long and hard. I was thinking about why I don't feel like you love me, but what's the point? I know things are getting worse because now I can't count on him being there. One of the scariest things a man could do is look you directly in the eyes and ask, "What are you thinking? What's on your mind?" The answer might be the make or break. Nostalgia. Nostalgia can be a very dangerous thing to hold on to, especially when you're in love, especially when love turned to hate. I wonder how the sun must think. I wonder how the dark side of the moon must feel, constantly hiding for all these years. Many tears, I'm sure. Who knows, but nostalgia is a very dangerous thing to hold on to. Captured on film. You don't understand how miserable you are until you aren't. You don't understand how unhappy you are until you're doing just fine. I was taping old Polaroid photos I had found for my 19th birthday in my worn leather photo book. I noticed how unhappy I looked, sitting by the window in my favorite pink hotel, all dressed up in a flower in my hair. Happy birthday, make a wish, and wipe a tear away. You don't notice those sorts of things when you're distracted by carrot cake and lavender gin lemonade. Anyhow, I'm happy knowing this is only a memory. Happy now that this is only an old Polaroid in my worn leather photo book upon the shelf. Good days. I'm rewriting my LA life. You and I, two hearts, two souls, together in life. Together at the timeless Hollywood Forever Cemetery. Here I've only known sadness late at night. Now I'm here with you, seeing it through your pomegranate wine eyes. It's bright and dreamy. I'm happy. Happy with you here in the middle of busy LA, calm upon our yellow blanket under the willow tree. I'm rewriting my LA life with you. LA is changing. LA now just lives in memories in my head. The old LA, I mean, before the riots and the unfathomable death. Memories of the cafe before the 101. Memories of the beginning of this year. Helicopter arms chopping just across the block as alarm clocks. Good morning. Exit the building with your hands in the air and wait for further instruction. Hung over faces across the white balconies of the quiet hotel. LA will forever live in many memories in my head. I'm sure things won't ever be the same as they were before. Maybe it's for the best. Who could have possibly known or even guessed? I won't fully know until tomorrow, but at least I have you. Not as a memory in my head, but here by my side. Your Bonnie to your Clyde, always by your side. Ethereal. Last night didn't feel real. It felt ethereal. I went to a party, got drunk, and had a few cigarettes, wearing smoky perfume and hair done up too. I laughed and laughed about things I won't remember tomorrow, but I was truly happy. Last night didn't feel real. It felt ethereal. When the sun set to sleep, the party ended and everyone walked to their cars. I got in mine and thought, I'm halfway home and halfway to you. What a perfect way to end a night with you, the one I adore, the one I want to hold. In your arms I shall go. So I drove past the park, under the highway, just to see you. Last night didn't feel real, it felt ethereal. Last night I fell in love with life and how it could feel. Last night I fell in love with you. I could never go back to where I was before you, because now, life is so beautiful. Sunday, October 11th. Quiet Sunday afternoon, nothing to do, just be in my favorite lime green sweater, reading poetry about love from years ago, long before you and me, after a warm bath. What they knew about love then, they teach me now. Love is something to live and breathe. While I was reading, I thought of you. How lucky I am to have you. You, on this quiet Sunday afternoon with nothing to do. I thought of you. Midnight Serenade. I wish I was a ballerina. I wish I could be as graceful and light, your partner for life, dancing under moonlight. But I'm not. I'm a poet. I'm a poet in love, so you'll have to teach me how to dance. Honeymoon. Palm Springs, halfway to heaven, sharing a bed with you for the first time. White linens and soft pillows, strawberry sweet kisses. My life is lofty like a CBD dream, calm and warm under the blazing sun. That summer was hot, but absolutely nothing compared to the new love heat wave we were under. Lovebirds in the morning, lovebirds in the evening. Now that I am home and away from a heavenly dream, I'm sitting in happiness thinking about my yesterday. My yesterday with you. Writing from a bath that's too hot with a glass of $12 wine and eating my boyfriend's leftovers. Just a few months ago, I was protesting in the streets of my favorite city, Los Angeles. Incredible to see an entire city sing for justice and equality. Looking back on it now, I still don't believe that justice was had those following days. The pandemic is still not over. March into fall. Jesus, what a time to be alive. What a ball. I lived 1,000 men between March and fall, but only one matters now. I met him by the pool. Went swimming in the gaze of his warm brown eyes. He is mine now. My boyfriend. If the world hadn't collapsed, I wouldn't have met you. Beautiful you. Funny how things happen that way. I wonder when things will feel real again. Until then, I'm writing from the bath that's too hot, drinking $12 wine and eating my boyfriend's leftovers, thinking, what the fuck happened in 2020? Wine talk. Hearing the rain kiss my window late at night is the sound of your voice over the phone before bed. Soft and soothing. $12 wine is the key to the soul. $12 wine is liquid poetry. Mulberry Street. Tonight, I told you somewhere between Laguna and the gardens of the Huntington I fell for you. That wasn't a lie. You said you had felt guilty for saying you felt the same. That wasn't entirely true. You fell for me the other night, somewhere between my shower and my pale green sheets. Of course, it wasn't about sex. It wasn't even about lust. It was about love. For the first time in a long time, I actually felt held by you. Someone new and someone true. Before you, someone tried to kill me. It was violent, and I stayed quiet trying to write him out of my head. Now that I've sold that story, I can fully be with you. I waited for you, you told me, and I deserved more. Now that I've seen you, just you, I am able to love you. No hiding behind a perfect smile. I have opened your heart to love again, and it's my turn to receive it. All I've ever known is to give. I do deserve more. More than that, more than him. I deserve love. I deserve you. The truth is, earlier tonight, I fell in love with you, the real you, on Mulberry Street at a table for two. The day I realized poetry doesn't have to be about pain to be beautiful, I stopped doing the wrong things to feel love. Now I do the right things because I am in love. Monday, November 9th. I've given up my stress. I can't worry about the things I cannot change. The weather is finally changing. From warm, breezy afternoons to midday timid rain clouds. I'm thankful. I can lay in the arms of the man I love. I'm cold, but I'm not sad. That's a first. This isn't exactly poetry, just something drafted within my notes. Maybe you can relate to a line or two. Maybe then, in that case, it is poetry. November. There is something about November, crisp and still like a photograph on film. It's cold and my fingertips are numb. I wish my hands were in yours tonight. There's something about November weather, cold and thick like a quilted blanket draped over me. There's something about November that is heavy-hearted, something that makes me feel low. Maybe tomorrow things will be different. Until then, I'll be pondering what it is about November that makes me feel this way. Thoughts into reality, magic into self-destruction, manifestation into fruition, roses to ashes. Manifestation is a powerful thing. Sometimes I'm fearful of it. Sometimes I think too loudly, thinking things into existence, things that'll hurt me. This is why I try not to write about the saddening things about you. Because I'm fearful I'll make them real and I'll make them my end. So I have to put my pen down and think to myself, tomorrow this will be behind me and I'll be able to move forward towards my personal heaven with you. High Priestess, paint me in my truest form, starry-eyed and wild flowers in my hands, dressed for a funeral or a wedding. Either way, I'll bury love and kiss you goodnight. Powerful like a high priestess, but tenderness like a cobweb hung by the window. That's who I've always been. Duality at its finest, always the best at both power and sadness. I love you. I do, but it's when it's 12:30 when I'm feeling this way. When I feel alone. It's when I have half a glass of wine or two to feel better. But it's no use. These things just make me feel worse. It's just me and my thoughts alone. It's when I'm alone and my thoughts are against you. I look up at the ceiling and tell myself, I love you, and list the reasons why I love you. This is when the real love transcends. Comprehensible insight. Love me the way I love you. Hold me the way I hold you. I'm waiting for you to wake up. Waiting for you to realize what you're doing. Waiting for you to realize what is happening. You are losing your love. You are losing me. Each morning I wake up and look at my phone just to see if you've texted me good morning. That feels like love to me. That makes me happy. Please be happy with me. Please love me the way I love you. Contemplation. I'm feeling less than comfortable and I'm fearful of my moods. I need to run to the gardens, but I have no money to enter. This upsets me further. I could have ran to see the stars, but I wouldn't want to go alone. I would want you there, but there are two problems. You hate the highway to the city that is an hour away from us. And second, my favorite city. The city an hour away from us is closed, no longer taking day visits, no longer my reality. I'm feeling very fragile, more so now than ever, and I'm not sure what to do. Velvet thoughts midnight. It is absolutely possible to be in love and heavy-hearted at the same time. I'm still deciding whether this is right or wrong. This is something I thought of midnight, long after you left my bed half awake and drove home in a daze. Within my fit of sleep deprivation, I got up, put on my favorite sweater, the one you bought me. I made myself a cup of tea to soothe my running thoughts and returned to bed. My sheets still smell like you. How I love you and the way you make me feel. Nearly 2 a.m. I can't sleep. I'm consumed by my thoughts and fearing. Maybe it's not the men I choose to fall in love with. Maybe it's not entirely their fault I end up feeling this way. A pretty photo to sit upon the mantel to collect dust. Blush roses left on the counter to wilt over time. That's what happens when they don't blink an eye. Am I expecting something to change? Or am I being unrealistic? I can't tell these days. I told myself I'd be happy if it works out, and also, if it doesn't, I'd be happy. But now that I've found comfort in your distant arms, it's getting harder to imagine being happy if it doesn't. Sweet revenge. Love me wrong, leave me on hold. I promise I won't be violent despite my stronghold mentality. I won't vandalize your possessions over my own obsessions. I won't cry a salty bath of tears just to wash you out of my head. I will simply write about you. Sticks and stones may break bones, so they say, but words pack a punch like no other. Of course I won't hold on to these silly mistakes of yours. They will remain hand-typed in black and white within pages of this book. I think that's the sweetest revenge. A dedication to the one I love. Bound to you. I know where I want to go with you and where I want to be. But if it weren't for the men that kept me warm and have sweet things to say along the way there, I don't know what I would do. Leave you? I couldn't because I love you. Bound by love, that silly 4-letter word. I love you, but how do I feel closer to you? Closer to where I want to be and where I want to go with you. Wilting. You can see me wilting in real time. In my eyes, you can see I'm longing for you to say something. Please. I long to feel something. Something real. Something like love. Say something like, I love you. Do you remember how things used to be? Do you remember when I used to think about you while I was out and about with friends having drinks and laughing? I knew I was halfway to you. I drove to you just to say I love you. Do you remember when you would hold me until 2? 2 a.m. is when I would drive home just to dream about you, just to wake up to an unread message from you. Good morning, beautiful, delivered 9:42 a.m. Do you remember when we were falling in love for the first time? That's the interesting thing about love. You can do it multiple times. You can fall in and out of love, just as I have done with you. I have fallen in love with you multiple times. I fell in love with you when you realized I was slipping through your fingers between our broken conversations. I fell in love with you when I was lying in bed late at night, thinking how things used to be between you and me. 12:07 a.m. Drunk typing poetry into my notes gives me that buzz. Manifesto. Now that I have reached the ripe age of 20, I'm starting to see things differently. No one to take care of other than myself. Before I was too willing to love everyone. Too willing to love everyone left me unhappy. I spent a lot of time picking flowers and writing for the wrong people. All that time I should have been doing it for myself. In my 20s, I've learned to let go. Let go of you and everyone in between. This is not another poem about my stupid ex. It is about something more important. This is my manifesto. This is my future. I have accepted the things that have happened, and now it's time to rebuild myself and rebuild love. Healing. Healing is not impossible. Healing is something that is learned. Practice makes this process easier. I'm healing in a beautiful way. No longer seeing my pain as something that has power to hurt me, but something transformative. I learned there is a true beauty and grace to suffering. I learned I only suffered and hurt terribly so that I may be able to love and be loved again, unconditionally. Inspiration. The past few days I've been looking for the inspiration to write again, going through old photo albums and old type letters of mine. What I didn't realize, the inspiration was there all along. I found inspiration in you, in your perfectly crooked smile, or the way you raise an eyebrow when I tell you something interesting. I fell in love with you and the poems wrote themselves. This book wrote itself. You are my poetry. You are my inspiration. No one else 2020 ended more perfectly with. No one else 2021 should have started with. Velvet thoughts half past midnight. As you may have learned, my poetry truly is my experiences and thoughts through a velvet curtain. By this I mean, it's not always pretty and it can sometimes be heavy. However, in the end, they will always be beautiful to me. Maybe one day you will think they are beautiful too. This is the start of my future poetry. Yours truly, Ryan Aguayo.